All right, let's look at Edo State. Let's talk about security and shutting down of schools in Edo. In April this year, you declared, and I'm quoting you directly, Edo is now safe for investment and growth. 2 months later, Edo shut down schools because of leaked SS memo warning of mass abductions of school children in the horizon. How do you respond to this?
It is true that Edo is safe for investors. We have been getting quite a number of them who are coming. But again, when you now see a flurry of activities with respect to kidnapping in the country of school children, it's a new normal and quite strange. And because Edo is a transit state, everybody going to the southeast, you pass through Edo from Lagos. If you are going to Lagos, you pass through Edo. You are going to southeast, you pass through Edo. You are going to south-south, you pass through Edo. You are going to the north, you pass through Edo. So Edo's road network and arteries is quite loose, so to speak, because everybody comes in. Some people come in to commit crimes and they jet out. So our responsibility is to ensure that we behave in a manner that will resonate that confidence in the minds of that we are taking action when we ought to take action. So if we receive such information from the secret police, for example, I would decide to say, or we decide to ignore them, and the incident happened, we will now be reacting rather than being proactive. So what we did was proactive based on intelligence information that we got as a government, and we took the necessary action to also beef up security around the border communities. Nigeria has a lot of ungoverned areas, quite a lot, but all of this requires the support, solidarity, and encouragement and motivation of the citizen so that they can perform their responsibility with all intents and purposes and without inhibitions.
Does it not weigh on you as the spokesman of the government that right now, because of security threats or kidnap threats, your children at home, they can't go to school? Does it not bother you and weigh on you?
Well, it is better for a child to be safe at home than to be exposed to in the hands of kidnappers. It is not going to be a permanent feature in our body politic. It is going to be a temporary measure put in place to ensure that there is sanity in the land. We are just complaining about the Oyo incident. From our own intelligence, we were told that the governor of that state got information that such things was going to happen. Perhaps he ignored it to further, maybe they were trying to play politics. It has happened now, and the responsibility is now on even the federal government to ensure that there's safe release of those children. So we will not behave in such manner. When we got information, what about if children were to, if teachers are on strike or university lecturers are on strike? Don't students stay at home? So it's better for you to stay at home and be safe than for you to expose them to the vagaries of kidnappings and what have you.
Let's look at accusations that teachers in Edo are being owed salaries, and also claim that council staff are also not being paid. What's the story, and how do you respond to this?
Well, I have since debunked that. I did a press conference barely 72 hours ago, yeah. And you know, mischief makers will naturally come up with all kinds of stories. When Edo is too quiet, it is not too good for them. They want Edo to be in the news for the wrong reasons. So that places them because they don't support the fact that government is working or government is doing well. So we recruited more than 5,000 teachers since we came to join the existing number. We've recruited over 2,000 health workers. That also means there will be increase in overhead, increase in staff emoluments and salaries. But because of the subsidy claims, by different states of the country, there's more money for the states. And so there's no state that can give any excuse that they are not able to pay salaries, even when the minimum wage has increased to 70,000. And only recently, there are conversations around trying to increase minimum wage to 100,000. So what is realistic is doable. What is not realistic is what the government will frown at or cultivate reason why it has to be the way they see it, and not the way Labour sees it. But if there's anything that the governor is doing right, it is this area of salary, where the civil service was literally run by consultants by the previous government. But we've stopped all of that now. We have recruited more hands to fill in the vacancy that existed. Promotions were stagnated for 7-8 years. We have effected those promotions now. And so, to a large extent, I think we're kicking. We're well and good in the area of staff salaries, 21st, 22nd of every month. Salary teachers and other staff get the alert.
If that's the case, the Center for Rights Protection Practitioners called for the resignation of Governor Monday Okpebholo, describing his administration as inept and nonchalant. As the man who speaks for the government, who wears the cap, tell us at least 3 specific projects started and completed, not mere promises, not groundbreaking, not the one that at different stages, just 3 specific completed.
My brother and friend, you see, whether I hear that right, I don't actually know that particular body, but they reserve the right to make their voice heard. But you see, like I often tell people, please don't tell me you are a civil rights activist, you are a social critic and all that, and you begin to tell lies. Telling lies or propaganda is what I frown at. There are some nameless guys in Edo who are operating under conference of registered political party for 22 years. That guy has been the chairman of that body, and every time he comes out to continue to raise doors over nothing, and he will just tell lies. But let me tell you, let me not take you far. When we were marking our 1 year in office, November 12 last year, we celebrated the construction and active operation of 63 primary healthcare centers across the 18 local governments. Our target is 146. We have taken that number now beyond 63. If I ask the health commissioner, I will have been able to get the exact figure now, but it's nearly 80 something. Furnished, provided with drugs and all that, to carry out first primary, responsibility with respect to healthcare. That one is functional. Even because there is no general hospital in Edo as we speak, only the Edo Specialist Hospital that was built by Adam Soshomole. The general hospital, the Stella Obasanjo Hospital, the previous government, in an attempt to expand it, more or less vandalized quite a number of it, and 50% completed. They commissioned it, brought Obasanjo to come and commission because it's named after his late wife, Stella Obasanjo. When we came on board, we discovered that over 7.3 billion is still being owed on that property, on that facility. Most of the things are not done. Some equipment have been supplied, warehouse in some rooms in that particular place, but it wasn't habitable to the extent that you were commissioning it because you were leaving government. So, education, we are doing well. Infrastructure, we are doing a lot of roads. The one that Obasanjo put signboard to say, we are sorry, this road belongs to federal government. Sapele Road, his vehicle got stuck there, and he was saying that it was federal government road. Are federal people coming to apply roads in Edo? We are almost 80% completed of that one. Now, if you go there, you see. And we have gone a step further to even introduce a flyover at Adetuwa Junction. Work is ongoing there as we speak now, except when there are rainfalls. That's where the contractors will have to stop work. We also have done 90% completed the flyover in Ramat Park. Usually a very busy area because there's a market around there and all of that. It's almost completed now. It's been asphalted. Apart from even the concrete slabs on it, we also asphalted it. So that means in 40 years, that road will remain like that. Plus all kinds of drain and underground tunnels that will lead rainfall down to Ikoba River. Because that particular flyover is on a slope. So tendency for too much of rainwater to affect it was there. But there's serious underground drains and all of that done. That is there. When we came on board, Bini, Ekpoma was almost impossible. Vehicles abandoned, they were now passing the other end, Oluku, Afuze, and down to Auchi. But now we have fixed all of that. We In fact, remedial work was done on that so that they can open up that road for commuters to use and transporters. We've done that. The endemic Ekpoma spot that was so terrible is being fixed as we speak. You can go there, you see it. There are a lot of road network going on in Edo North. Akoko Edo area, we have completed some of the roads. Others that we have not completed, they are undergoing construction as we speak. So in terms of infrastructure, I think the governor can be scored A. My only worry is I kept asking him, are you sure we are going to complete all these projects because they are quite massive? What about Siloko Road down to off Siloko Road? Even now we are working on a Ewotubu. As these are all endemic areas that were abandoned by the previous government. Ekewa Road, we have finished the section that leads to the army barracks, and we are taking it further so that we can end it at Gelegele area. So the volume of work and construction that are ongoing is massive. It comes to social aspects. The governor is building new markets. Oba market got burnt under the previous government. He promised 100 million to fix it. He couldn't. Now we have built, almost completed, maybe 95% complete now. Brand new market for them. The people are happy, and they are even asking us, are you sure we are going to have our shops or lock up stores in this place? Because the beauty of this market now, where are we going to have money? And the governor has said, no. It's just certainly this belongs to them. That one is almost completed. We have Ekpoma market, we have Irua market, we have Jatu market in Edo North. So we spread them like that, and they are receiving very, very cogent attention. The market women, he gave them 1 billion naira interest-free loan, so that those who are doing small business can be assisted to, and the students, we have a bursary. He has revived the bursary commission. We are now, he voted 1 billion to that, appointed the board and all of that, so that they can be taking care of those students in any tertiary institution in Nigeria.
All right, people are wondering, the governor publicly said that he would deliver 2.5 million votes to President Tinubu. First, people are wondering, does Edo have up to 2.5 million registered voters? And then secondly, what has President Tinubu done for Edo State that the governor is making such a huge pledge?
Edo is under APC. That's number one. Number two, President Tinubu removed subsidy from the system. That has increased the revenue coming to Edo, for which the governor is deploying to do infrastructure, do other social activities. So you cannot say, what has President Tinubu done for Edo? Before that, now the resources coming to Edo may not be enough to do so much in terms of infrastructure, but at least we are better off now. That is that. The point, I think people don't understand our claim that we will deliver 2.5 million votes. It's like a campaign sing-song to motivate our members, motivate the electorate to key into our agenda of ensuring that we have more people participating in the election process. It's not necessarily that the 2.5 million will be put on our doorsteps. It's like setting, a tall order for yourself and looking at that to motivate you to drive to that peak. That is the idea behind the 2.5 million votes. If now you just ask me, do we have 2.5 million votes? We will say yes. More and more people will key into it. Edo normally, votes maybe 500, 700,000 across all parties and all that. But if as APC and the kind of things that the governor is doing, we are able to rally around the electorates together with that sing-song, that slogan, it will resonate well amongst the electorate. And so that way people will say, governor doesn't make we produce 2.5 for make I go support him because he's doing so well. That was the rationale behind that. But people are taking it beyond the ordinary. But it's okay. We are motivated by that slogan. We are carrying out a lot of mobilization and sensitization. We are telling people that they should key into it. We are using the governor's achievements and performance projects here and there as point of contact. So if you go to an area in Benin called the Temboga area at Upper Mission, we are doing the road, Temboga Road, massive road network with all kinds of drainage channels. It's a massive work. We're almost completed now because we want to link it up to the bypass so that instead of passing Bowo, you can follow that area to travel, link the bypass, and you hit the road. If we finish that road now, or by the time we finish that road, and we go there to campaign, do you think the people in that area will not vote for us? Particularly those who almost lost their houses to erosion, gully erosion and what have you. All of that has been recovered now, filled up, and smooth road is running on it. So you need to do projects that will make the people, to appreciate your government. You may not have provided answers to all the problems, all the nagging problems in the state, but for God's sake, there is so much going on that it will be safe to conclude that Edo is a construction site, and that is not in doubt.